Howdy audio folks, MrAyrit here. I've got a good one for you today, and this one took me a little by surprise. My expectations were pretty low coming into this one. Before I tell you what headphones I got, I'm going to shout out to Audio46. This is the very first headphone they sent me, so I'm starting a new relationship with them, which I really appreciate. So I'll link down to their store and to these headphones from their store. So thanks to them. They're not trying to influence this review, or they're not really paying me or anything, but the links will be affiliates, so just so you know. The headphone that they decided to send me first was the Sivga 023 or SV023. And I gotta admit, I was kind of disappointed because I'm like Audio46, you know, they carry all the latest and greatest and super high-end stuff. And then they chose to send me a Sivga. Darn it, you know, I was like, I was hoping for something high dollar, right? Something fancy. And then I started listening to them, and I started singing a little bit different tune. So I actually really like these headphones, and we'll dig into why that is. But first, as always, we'll look at like what it comes with, accessories, talk about build, do all that stuff. And we'll get to the all-important sound before too terribly long, okay? So first, the packaging. Pretty simple, right? I don't mind. It's a nice little cardboard box, right? It's nothing too fancy. A little bit of foam to keep things in place. But you can see as Sivga, you know, this seems to be pretty standard for them. It comes with a pretty nice leather or pleather. I'm not sure if it's real or not. Semi-hard case here. So I'll open that up for you and show you how things look in there. So, I mean, if you just, like, the case is just, it's really nice. It's got these little feet, so it can just sit up like that. I don't know. It's a nice little case. And then inside, right, the headphones, if we get them in there, they pop in there and they sit just really, really nice in there. And, you know, it's got a little pouch in here for cables and adapters and things like that. Okay, so that's all nice stuff. It's all pretty nice as far as, like, the packaging goes and the accessories, and you know what all the stuff it comes with is perfectly adequate and probably better than most, you know, lower end headphones. Like so it comes with some decent stuff. Cable similarly is pretty nice, I feel like. We've got it's a braided cable. It's plasticky feeling, but it doesn't tangle much. It's pretty nice to use, I would say. And probably my favorite thing about it is it's kind of like not a modular system, because it comes with just the 4.4 as the standard, and then you've got a 4.4 to 3.5 adapter, and then you've got a 3.5 to 1/4 inch adapter that goes onto that. This isn't the one that came with it. This is just an extra one I had, but you know, you get the idea. They're all pretty much the same, right? The one thing I don't like about the cable is it is 2.5 millimeter instead of 3.5 millimeter, which is, you know, I wish everybody would just use 3.5. That just makes it so easy to swap cables and things like that. That being said, it's not like the 2.5 is a super rare connector. It's pretty easy to find those. But more importantly, I don't think you need one. The cable is about 6 feet, which I think is perfect length. And again, with the adapters and stuff that they include, it all feels pretty nice. So I think getting a new cable is probably not even a requirement. So I'm all right with it, you know? I'm all right with it. It does have kind of a cool, like, coppery gray color scheme to it that it looks nice. It's a nice cable. Certainly better than most stock cables, at the very least. And when we get to build of headphones, you know, they're pretty subtle. You know, I'm a sucker for wood cups, so I love that. I think the grill is quite reminiscent of like the X2 HR, which I really like that kind of mesh grill look here. It's metal, feels high quality. Most of the stuff on here is metal. There's maybe a couple of plastic pieces here on like the suspension strap. You can see it's got spring still. If it were me, I would probably try to stretch this just a little bit if I owned these. The clamp is maybe just a touch. I mean, it's not bad, but it's just maybe a touch tighter than I would like it. Of course, I like suspension straps. This is like a leather or pleather material. It's got some padding on it. I find it to be quite comfortable. You can see I use it on about the lowest settings, and this guy, you know, has a good amount of slide there. This is friction, not clicky, but I haven't had any issues with that. Yokes are metal. Not a ton of side-to-side range, but enough of range all around that I didn't have any trouble getting a nice fit with these. You can see the pads are like pleather leather, perforated on the outside, perforated on the inside pleather leather, and then kind of a fabric cloth material here that feels nice. I mean, they feel nice. They're not super huge. You can see they have, I mean, Sivga seems to have kind of this interesting shape that they like to make their pads. And, you know, when you look at it, it doesn't, you wouldn't think you'd get a good seal with it, but I actually find them to be super, super comfortable. So I have no complaints. They're fairly lightweight. You know, usage for long periods of time hasn't been any issue with me. I find them to be quite comfortable. So all that stuff is good. Build's good. Accessories are good. Cable's good. Comes with a nice case. I mean, all that stuff, they check all the boxes. And now I think I should probably mention the price. It looks like they're $450 new retail. At least that's what they're at on Audio 46 right now. Which, you know, I was a little surprised at the price, not because of the build quality or anything like that, but because I had the SV021s, which were a closed back that, if you like bass, I think they're a pretty good option. But they're only like $150 or something like that, right? So I thought that this was going to be the open version of those. So I was thinking this headphone would probably be like, you know, $150, $200. But then when I found out it was $450, I was kind of like, whoa, that's more than I expected. But you know what? When you get to all the stuff that it comes with, and then when you get to the sound, I really, it's probably adequately priced, quite honestly. So how do they sound? They sound terrific, honestly. I mean, you got to keep in mind, like, the resolution isn't on par with what the stuff I've been listening to lately. But I mean, we're talking like, I've got the Utopia here, the original. So I'm gonna have a new one here so I can compare them eventually. I've got my Verite Opens here. I just had the Elites. So I had a string of really, really nice headphones that I've been listening to for quite a while. And then, of course, kind of my go-to daily driver that I personally own, besides the Verite Opens, is the 8XX. And I don't think these touch any of those headphones in terms of resolution. But as far as just like a nice dynamic headphone, open back, you know, fairly high, not super high impedance, but high enough. I think these are 150 ohms. I better double check that. Give me just a second. Oh, sorry, not 150, 300 ohms. They're 300 ohms impedance. So they play super well with tube amps, but I found them to be okay on solid state as well. I'm just getting to be fairly in the tube amp camp at this point. My main amps right now are the Quicksilver headphone amp, which I love, and I've done a video on that. And then I also have an Eddy Current ZDT Junior right now, which is at my bedside, which I'm really enjoying that amp as well. For solid state, I don't have anything too crazy right now. I just have a Lake People G103, just as kind of like a little just baseline solid state if I need to try something on it. Okay, so I don't have any crazy solid state amps. It sounded fine on solid state, but when you put it on a tube amp, it sweetens it and gets it, I think, to what it should be, right? And I think that's most people when they're buying this. It's a 300 ohm headphone. I think they're targeting people that are tube amp people that like dynamic headphones, and this one delivers, I think. So how does it sound? It's wide. It's pretty wide. It sounds pretty open and airy, in my opinion. Great vocal intimacy and timbre, and then strings and kind of throughout those middle frequencies, just a good amount of energy to them. It maybe can be over the top in some instances, but for the great majority of tracks that I listen to, I found them to be about right where I wanted it to be. So I've got a Lokius at my main desk here, and then I've got a Loki Mini upstairs in my listing spot, and I didn't tweak these at all. So it tells you they're pretty close. Maybe every now and then on a track I might reach in and pull like the 4K or 6K down just a touch, but I mean very, very little. Bass is right where I want it to be. It's got some good punch to it, good texture. Just overall, they're just about right where I want everything to be. The highs are probably the least of note for me, but that's usually a good thing in that, like, I don't find them overbearing, and I don't find that they're too little. They're kind of right where I want them to be, as far as that goes. So I think all that comes together in a really nice package that, images well and is fairly wide. It doesn't sound congested, but at the same time, vocals can be pretty intimate, and just the timbre it's got a nice sweet timbre to it. Again, resolution is probably the weak point, where it's not really unpleasant, but maybe it's just got a bit of grain to it. So it sounds kind of vintage to me, I guess is what I would say, but in a good way, right? A nice sweet vintage sound when you put them on a good tube amp. And of course, for my DACs, I've been using the RU6, which I love, and then I've also been using the Arist R2R, which I picked up recently as well. I thought these matched a little bit better with the RU6, which is just a touch smoother than the Arist, which can be a little more forward in those upper frequencies. So I think that they're a good headphone. I really like them. I honestly would consider owning a set. Here's the part that I think they missed, right? I think the headphone's a win. I compared them to the Hi-Fi Man Edition XS, which is the thing that I thought was most competitive with them that I have on hand. I mean, price-wise, they're right in the same point, and I'd take these any day over the XS, either on solid state or on a tube amp. I did them both. I tried them both on each of them, and I like this one. It's got a lot of the airy qualityness and the good separation that the XS has, but I thought the timbre's better on these. The bass is better on these. It's less, but I feel like it's better. The texture is better, and it's a little better controlled on these guys right here. So I just thought the vocal intimacy was better. I just thought all around, I just enjoyed this when I popped them back and forth. To me, it was hands down. I like this one, the 023 better. So they're a great headphone and probably worth the price. Here's where I think they missed the mark a little bit. Is if they could have priced this thing at like $300, I think this would just be the go-to easy rec for a dynamic, headphone in that price range. To me, if I was comparing this to a Sennheiser 6 Series headphone, I would take this every single time. And that's why I'm kind of sad that this didn't come in a little bit closer to the price where it could compete with something like 6XX, 650, 600 Sennheiser headphones, because I think they would have a super strong competitor in that market with these guys. Maybe the price will come down eventually to that, in which case I think these are going to be an easy recommendation, at least for me, to give to people. I have seen just a couple of these on the used market. One of them was $250 though, and that was one where I was like, maybe I should buy that. I didn't, just because, I have it right now, but and I'm not trying to buy a bunch of headphones right now either. So, but definitely one that's worth checking out if you're in the market for a dynamic driver. You like tube amps. You want something that's a little bit sweeter, open. They're great. I like them a lot. I like the cable a lot. I like the case a lot. I like the whole package. So I think they're a winner in my book. Even for their asking price, I think they're a winner, but I just wish it was, closer to $300, and then it could really compete with those Sennheisers, which is, right now pretty much people's go-to tube headphone dynamic in that price range, the $200 to $300 price range. So, but I'd take these any day over any of those Sennheisers. But you know me, I'm not a huge Sennheiser 6 Series fan. Out of the 6 Series, I prefer the 660S, which is kind of like the least play with tubey one of them of the bunch. But for me, these they are a much more well-rounded, complete, sound staging, just do it all nice headphone. So I like them. I can recommend them. Thank you to Audio46 for sending them out. I appreciate that. And I believe these are going to go next. I'll have to work that out, but either to Signcraft or to Wave Theory. So you can probably look forward to one of them doing a review of these at some time in the future. And with that, I think I'll end it. As always, like, subscribe, comment down below. Have you tried these? Do you like them as much as I do? Is there something else that you would pick over them? for the price. And, you know, then as always, I just appreciate you being here and watching, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.